Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome and thank you again for attending today's Technical Assistance webinar. This webinar is presented by Amity Foundation, acting as the third-party administrator for Los Angeles County's Justice, Care, and Opportunities Department and the CFCI Care Grants. The CFCI or Care First Community Investment Grants are the result of ballot measure J voted in by LA County residents in 2020. Care First Community Investment Funds are intended to be invested directly into communities and alternatives to incarceration that address negative outcomes caused by racially driven criminal legal system inequalities and long-term economic disinvestment. Today's webinar is being recorded. You do not have to be on camera. Understand that if you are on camera, your image may be captured in this recording. Staying on the webinar represents your consent to being recorded. So we will just go through quick intros. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Mina Carrion. I am the Training and Technical Assistance Coordinator. Rudy?
Good afternoon, everyone. Excuse me. Good afternoon, everyone. Rudy Cardenas, Director of Data here at Amity Foundation.
Rudy, you sound a little far.
Interesting. Give me 1 second. Okay, is that better?
It might be your things.
Yeah. Zoom likes to mess with me every time I sign on to it.
Yeah, the volume is still low. People are saying that it's worse.
Okay, let me test out a different set of headphones.
Gotcha. All right, I'll go into the
Sorry,
community
give me 1 second.
centering community, and then we'll come back to you. All right. So at Amity, we incorporate teachings that center the community before we begin our work. Today, we will use the LA County Land Acknowledgement to recognize the price paid by individuals that has resulted in efforts such as the Care First Community Investment. We recognize that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Quiche, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in the genocide of the First Peoples. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to the elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of Los Angeles County. And there is Rudy again. So let me stop sharing.
Is it any better? Is that still the same?
It's still the same. You'll probably have to come off and you just use like regular maybe. Oh, people can hear you. Sounds better. Maybe it was just me. Rudy, people can hear you, so you can go.
People. So are people able to hear me or negative, or I don't know if I should try and switch out the other headphones?
People can hear you. The people have spoken, Rudy. They can hear you. Go ahead. Introduce yourself and go on with your presentation.
Thank you so much. I apologize for the technical errors. I will introduce myself again. My name is Rudy Cardenas. I'm the Director of Data here at Amity Foundation.
Today we will be reviewing the Milestone Quarterly Report, which is available via Apricot. Every time that we do in Apricot training, I always try to start from the beginning, basically your homepage, and review the entire process. So please bear with me, as that is what we will be doing today. Give me 1 second. I will be sharing my screen. Okay. And are folks able to see my screen? I just want to confirm.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so I am on our Apricot homepage. In order to access your Milestone Quarterly Report, you will be going to the TPA Grantee Search. You will be using the Grantee Search button located here under your TPA Quick Links. When you select when you click the Grantee button, the Grantee Search button, you will then be able to view your organization's profile. So clicking within the profile, it will take me into my grantee profile, which gives different information about the organization. So the name of the org, the contract signer, points of contact that we have, the program area awardee, things of that information. Now from this page, I will follow it over to the right-hand side under the record options, and I will click on View Folder. So once this loads, I will then see all the forms that are available to me as an organization. So I am going to review the Milestones Quarterly Report, which is the second one. I will follow it over to the right-hand side, click the page with the plus sign, and that will allow me to create a brand new report. So there are a couple of items to remember about this report. Anything you see with an asterisk indicates that it is a required field. That basically means that we will not be able to save. There's no saving a draft. There's no saving any version until all these items have been completely entered. So I'm going to set today as my report date. I have the ability to enter backup documentation. So anything that supports my completion of any of the milestones that I am reporting on. I have a question on, is the quarterly report ready for review? Currently, it's draft. I'm not ready to have my grant advocate take a look. So I'm going to set it to no. Now, this next item is something that is one of the most frequent reasons that you will have issues saving your report. And if you click this green add button, you will get a pop-up window. This is where you are able to make your selection for your milestones for whatever year of the grant you are in. So we do have folks that are in different timelines. I am going to use this year 1 as my test. So when I select it, I get a little pop-up window here that lets me know the link has been added. I also see that there's been additional information added just under the milestone section. So I can close this pop-up window. So under the provider milestones, I now see I have a link that will be added upon save. So now I can move forward with selecting my milestones. So the number of milestones that you will be reporting on will vary across organizations. Your first milestone for all of our year 3 grantees will be something along the lines of you completing all required trainings, attaining your credentials to Apricot, and then all of the milestones that follow would be the milestones you worked to create. Those would be the milestones that you shared with your grant advocate. And once those have been finalized, approved, they will then be added into Apricot for you. So you won't need to worry about having to add that information. So I went through and selected milestones 1 through 4. in part just so that I can review that information with you folks. If I only had to report on milestone 1, then I would only leave that milestone checked. So as I check off on these milestones, I then get the additional information to populate. Again, it will only show if I have them selected. So if I only have milestone 1 and 2 selected, that is all I view. The following piece, the budget expenditure upload. So there is a section, and I will be covering it immediately after this, where your budget expenditure form is located in Apricot. So at the moment for our year 3 grantees, I know I've had a few folks ask this question, so I'm just going to reference. This budget expenditure form is not currently available for your grant year. Typically, it's available closer to your quarter ending. So we hope to have this up sometime along mid-September. Please feel free to reach out to me, as the time nears, and I can give you an update. Or you can also always feel free to reach out to your grant advocate, and they will have that information as well. So within the report, if you notice, this is a required field. So in order to move on, we have to attach a budget expenditure. Now, if your budget expenditure form is not currently available and you are working on your draft for this report, you can feel free to you would click choose file, and you can go ahead and use a template or use a placeholder. So feel free to use any form that you have. I'm going to use just one of our manuals so that I have a file available here. Now, once my budget template, my budget expenditure template is available and I'm able to fill that out, I can come back, edit this form, delete the placeholder that I have, and then upload the appropriate expenditure form. So the next piece is your milestone. So within the milestone, which you would have listed here, you would need to provide us an update as to where you are with your milestone. So I will say that milestone 1 has been completed, and here within the milestone update box, I will manually provide information, giving an update as to where we are with said milestone. So if my milestone was to provide training for all grantees, I will say, sorry. So I'm typing it out as I speak. So if this was my milestone to provide training to all grantees, I will say, training was provided on 7/31, and then again on 8/20. And my supporting documentation will identify that that was completed. And again, just a reference, your supporting documentation would be uploaded up here at the very top. So the next milestone, is it completed? I will go ahead and say no. Once I state that my milestone hasn't been completed, I then have the ability to request an extension or an amendment. So if I require an extension, meaning I just need more time. So we are working to get this milestone completed and we just ran out of time. I can go ahead and update that information. I will state that I need, and again, sorry folks, I'm just using fictitious dates. So if this was due for this quarter, let's say the quarter ends August 31st, for example, then I would say that I need an additional quarter. So I would need from 9/1/2024 until the end of November. So I would need an entire additional quarter to get this completed. Do I require an amendment? An amendment basically is changing your milestone, changing the language on your milestone. So if let's say that you created a milestone that was a bit lofty and unrealistic, you may want to revisit the numbers that you are populating within said milestone. So if you said, I'm going to serve 1,000 students, and after working with your team for a quarter, you realize that that might not actually happen. That might not be a realistic number for you and your team to hit. Then you would request an amendment. Within this amendment section, apologies. So within this milestone update, now you would enter your current milestone and then you would add the new language for your milestone or what you would like it to be updated to. So if I wanted to update it and I will say, again, just an example. So if we were talking about, number of students who we're serving, then we are able to just go ahead and update the number, right? So we were talking about 1,000 students and we're like, that's not realistic. We're going to do half of that. Then you would just go ahead and update your numbers accordingly. Now, the amendment and the extension are all dependent upon your TPA leadership to approve. So Joanne and Carol would work with you and probably ask for more information as to why an extension or amendment is needed. Typically, you will provide that information to your grant advocate, and grant advocate will have a conversation with TPA leadership, and you will move forward from that point. So there is a section here that our TPA leadership would fill out. You would leave this information blank, as again, our leadership is going to be filling this information out in regard to the milestone. Success story. So you are able to upload a success story, whether it be something that you have on PDF or Word doc. Other folks have uploaded videos or links to YouTube channels. You have a limited amount of space. You only have 25 megabytes to put your file in. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you are linking a YouTube video of some sort, please feel free to throw that within the success story. Just a note, if you were to upload let's say a PDF that has your success story on it, you would still need to enter text within this box. So here you would say something along the lines of, please see attached success story. So that when you decide to save the record, you don't have any issues. The last piece, the overall updates and challenges. So again, this is a required field. We know that it is difficult to come up with challenges you may have faced, but please feel free to provide any challenges you faced throughout the entire quarter. So whether you were having issues with Apricot, whether you were having issues getting your budget expenditure form, whether you had issues spending the money, whatever challenges you were facing, please feel free to jot them down within this box. I will just say, all right. So, oh, sorry, Apricot didn't like the fictitious date I tried using, so it wasn't going to allow me to save. So now that I've gone through, I've checked everything. My report looks good to go. I'm still not ready to have my grant advocate view this report, in part because my budget is not ready. We cannot, or we will not have our grant advocates review we won't have our grant advocates review this report until everything is finalized, everything's good to go. I will go ahead and click Save Record. And I will get this pop-up box that lets me know the record has been created. And I have the options to continue, view folder, or go to search. So all in all, this was the information in regard to the milestone quarterly report. I will quickly show you how to pull your budget template. So from this page, I'm going to click View Folder. And within your All Documents section, you will have a Budget Template tab. So if you click on this plus sign located on the left-hand side, and I scroll over the section or the item that I want to open up and edit, I am then able to download this information. So again, it's download only. So I won't be able, actually, I believe you won't have the ability to delete the file. So if you click on this link, again, I am just using a placeholder, so it won't be an actual budget bulletin. What it actually is are instructions for pulling your budget bulletin, which are located in the homepage. So once you click that link, your form will download. You will then be able to go ahead and save it to your local file, wherever you save your items, and you can move forward with entering your budget information. And just because I referenced it, so if you are looking for instructions on how to download your budget expenditure form, you can click here to download the form, and you will get this set of instructions. Thank you so much, folks. Again, I know we tend to go through these trainings really quickly, uh, and I also know it's a lot of information, but we are always available to help you fill out the form, to answer any questions as you have them to ask. I do see Mina. I see people with their hands up. Are they able to go off mute, or how would we answer, or how would we have them ask questions?
That's a good question. They should be able to. Put it in the chat if you could go off mute or if you can't. Um, we do have questions though. Oh, you can't. Oh, okay. Let me see who has their hand raised,
Okay, we
and then
have
I can
a Q&A
elevate
section.
them. Yes, I know.
Interesting.
Oh, I can't see the little hand raise. Oh, they raised a hand, but I can't. Okay, hold on. Alma, let me elevate you to. Oh, Alma, wait. Alma Villegas. Hold on. There you go. Alma, can you come off mute?
Yeah, I think I can. Can
Amazing.
you hear me? Oh, thank
Yep.
you. Thank you so much, Alma from Inner City Arts. I had already asked the question in the question section, but I just wanted to reiterate on the documentation section.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if it would be
Oh,
possible,
of
just
course.
any examples of documentation that we could upload. And I know it varies between organization to organization based on our milestones, but just
Yeah.
any ideas, that would be great.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course. I think one of the most common milestones that we see is hiring someone. So when you hire someone, your documentation can be the offer letter, the onboarding schedule for, let's say, enrolling a specific amount of individuals. You could do sign-in sheets. If you Let's say you partner up with a school or with another agency, the MOU between the two organizations would be suffice. Any other ideas, Rudy, that just come off the top of your head?
Yeah, so I think you touched on them. So like the sign-in sheets are probably like the most typical. Um, I think you covered most of the ones that came to mind on my end.
Okay. And if you guys need sign-in sheets, like with like the exact columns and information of what is needed for Apricot, reach out to us, reach out to your grant advocate. We actually can make a sign-in sheet with your company logo, or we could just give you the standard one and then you could edit as you would like to. John Mead, let's okay, hold on. Let me take you off of mute and then we'll go to the Q&As that are here. John. John, I don't see you here. on the list, but your hand is raised. How does that happen? Huh. Oh, you're at the top. All right, John, go ahead. You can go off mute.
Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we are a year 3 grantee, and the first milestone is already set for us, right? So in this first quarter, all we have to do is be responsible for that first one that's already set. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And we only have 3 other milestones that we submitted that we need to reach within the first year.
That one, I'm not 100%
Yes, that is
sure.
correct.
Is it 3?
That is
Okay.
correct. Okay.
Thank you,
Yes.
Carol.
I just want to make sure. What if we add additional milestones? Say, for instance, in quarter 3, we've come up with something else that we would like to add. Is that allowable?
Please reach out to your grant advocate and we can further discuss case by case scenario.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Thank you,
good.
John.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, we do have a question. Do we submit an updated budget template that reflects expenses from the last 2 quarters?
So your budget template should reflect the quarter you're reporting. So you will have a template to download, and that is an Excel sheet that you would then just fill in with the appropriate information. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up the template itself. I think I have a blank one available.
And it really is a budget versus actuals. I know we use the word budget expenditure, but when you really look at the budget expenditure, it really is just a budget versus actuals, which will have each quarter listed out, and Rudy will have hopefully an example to pull up. By when should we already be registered in Apricots?
So you have until the end of this month to complete the trainings and get your submissions in. Is that accurate? July, August. Yes, sorry. So ideally you will need to have your submission in before the end of the month, and that is because we do expect you to start entering data for your programming in September.
I remember that.
And then any contact info for Rudy,
Well,
please
W9,
email
I gotta do
the
it.
help desk
Yes.
at amityfoundation.org. We will drop the email in the chat. At that email, you can reach anyone from the data team because there's more than just one Rudy now.
Yes.
How many days in advance can we submit the reporting?
So you can start a draft typically the last like 2 weeks of the quarter. However, you shouldn't be submitting it until the quarter ends, right? Because your budget should reflect all expenditures that were completed within that month. So we do tend to open up the form so you can jump in and make edits and basically prep for reporting roughly 2 weeks in advance.
Awesome. A great question was, should we upload all types of documentation to provide proof of milestone, or can we just submit one type? I always say the more the merrier. So if you have more than one proof for your milestone, feel free to zip it or to merge it into one PDF. Either one works. If it's a large file, a zip probably works best. Someone stated, I realize we haven't been submitting the right supporting documentation for the past 2 reports. Is it okay to do so going forward?
Sorry,
not sure what exactly that means. If that person can maybe reach out to their grant advocate and get a little bit more details.
Yeah, please reach out to your grant advocate. Does the data need to be entered going back to July? So I'm going to assume that you're a year 3 grantee, and the answer is no. Rudy, can you confirm when they have to start submitting data for year 3s? Year 3s only. So if you are in program area 22 to 46, you only have to start entering data as of
September 1st.
so
So anything
September
that
1st.
happens September 1st and going forward is what needs to be entered into Apricot. Anything that happened prior is 100% at your discretion. So if you wanted to enter things that happened in August and July, you can feel free to do so, but you are not required to.
And then what is the supporting documentation we need to use for the Q1 training requirements? So we will actually know that already for you. So that's why we always state, put your name and your organization in the chat, because we will be able to pull up those records and let your grant advocate know. And if you have access to Apricot, I mean, you're doing your report, so we'll know you have access. Oh, and your grant advocate will be giving you a copy of the approved milestones that you submitted. So you will have all of that. So that will be the only documentation for that one milestone is the milestone approvals. Where can we see all milestones for all quarters in Apricots?
I'm sorry, say it again, please.
Oh, shoot. I just missed it. Hold on.
Where can you
Where
see
can
the
they see
milestone?
all milestones in Apricot?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to reshare my screen again. Okay, are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So just as we did before for the milestone quarterly reporting, we will go ahead and click on TPA grantee search here from your homepage. I'm going to select my org. I will go to view folder over on the right-hand side under record options. And I will see TPA grantee milestones. Again, this is something that your grant advocate will be entering for you, so you won't have to worry about manually creating it. You also won't have the ability to create a new form or make edits. It will be view only for you. So when you click within this section, you will be able to see all your milestone information.
Awesome. Thank you. Will the milestone area allow you to upload video from like Zoom for proof of reporting? I think if they zip it, it can, right?
It will depend on the size of the file. So if you zip your drive, it may become condensed enough to be uploaded. However, if it does not, please reach out to your grant advocate. And you can figure out different workarounds. So one, it can be that you email the information to your grant advocate directly. Another item, since it is she mentioned a Zoom video, you could let your grant advocate know that you're attaching a link directly within your update box in regard to that particular milestone.
Someone asked, how many milestones are we supposed to have?
Carol.
So you will have a total of 5 milestones. The first milestone is the milestone that everyone has, a general milestone, which is to attend all required trainings and to submit your milestones for the year. Then you'll have milestones 2, 3, and 4, and then the last one is 5. And the fifth milestone will be to create new milestones for the following contract year.
Thank you, Carol.
And that's only for year 3. Thank you. Do we have to take the training sessions again, even if we took them last year?
Yes. It's a refresher, and our apricot changes, and things can be added, or things can there could be updates that are being reflected. So we want everyone to be on the same page and to have refreshers.
We are allowed to update our budget twice a year, right? Is this the time we would submit for changes? Yes. Is the apricot submission for all staff or just one entry?
I'm not sure I understand what they mean.
Like more than one person can, and well, only one person has, well, no, because you can share logins. Yeah, Fly Compton, would you be able to raise your hand or put a little bit more information? When you reference get submission in, what are you actually referring to? What are the submissions?
So when I was referencing submission, it was in regard to the milestone quarterly report. So basically when your report is ready for review, that's what I consider a submission, right? That you're submitting it to your grant advocate for review.
And then Fly Compton. Hi, you can go off mute. What's going on?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So we just had a question. When we register and we submit, you know, we do all the apricot entry stuff, does each staff member have to do that, or it's just one entry?
So you will only have, or sorry, basically every org is allowed one license to apricot.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to designate someone on your team to do the data entry. You can share that, share your login credentials with anyone on your team. However, that's also with the understanding that you can't have 2 people logged in at the same time. So as soon, let's say that I'm logged in and then Mina logs in using my credentials, in essence, she will be kicking me off the system. So once she confirms that she wants to log in, and basically Apricot will give you a little notification stating someone else is currently logged into the system, logging in will be kicking them out. I will immediately be logged out. So anything that I was currently working on will be lost.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you only want progress on milestone for that particular quarter, or are you interested in seeing progress on all milestones, even if it's not due yet?
So you have a start date and end date across all of your milestones. So it really depends on how you labeled them. So if one is due within a specific quarter, then we want the update for that particular milestone. If you have something labeled for being across the year, let's say from the beginning of your grant, let's say it's for year 3, so your grant started July and ends in June, then you would need to provide an update every quarter. Now, if it is a milestone, and again, I'm using year 3's timeline. So if our quarter ends September and I have an update for something that happens, you know, it's supposed to be accomplished the following quarter, I will hold off on providing that update until the following quarter.
Someone asked, what is the cost for an additional login if they need one?
So I don't know that we can do that. I have had that question asked by a few orgs. So I am following up with our VP of IT to get that information and see if that is something that we can do. Again, there are a lot of, different items that come to mind in regard to like how would billing be done? How would, again, on our end, how would we acquire the additional licenses? So there are kind of a few different questions that I'd have to get feedback on before I can give that information out.
We have our mentors located at an
You
elementary
finished your
school.
boxes already?
How
Boxes, you put them yourself?
should we best document, as our students will not have a sign-in sheets?
So that will vary. So my question to you is, considering that it's a center, how do you know who's participating in your program? Like what form of tracking are you using? In part for, let's say, for
Second year of contract of year 2.
Huh?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So just thinking outright for like emergency purposes, right? Let's say there's an emergency within your building. You'd need to know what students are currently partaking in your program and are currently there. So that would kind of be my question to you first, is there anything that you're currently doing to track who is at your centers? Sorry, I know that doesn't quite answer the question, but that one is something that we would need a little more back and forth on. You can always feel free to reach out and we can actually have that conversation as well.
Can we use the Apricot software to record data that is not directly related to the program, or is it exclusively for use with this program?
Great question. Thank you. So we only require you to enter data that is in relation to this grant. So anything not related, you are not. I don't want it to sound harsh, but we won't be collecting that information. We end up going back and having to delete it because we only need to capture information that's relative to this grant. So we do use this data to report out to the county. So we have to make sure that our numbers are accurate again, and that's all in response to the funding.
FYI, Instagram stories does great 1-minute videos, easy to share. Creating a YouTube channel to track milestones and add a link would also be helpful. I'll most likely use both of these tools, just sharing. Thank you, Stephanie. And is there a sign-in sheet that has a column for new and pre-existing participants?
That would be a you question.
Don't think so, because it's not one of the required fields for Apricot,
Mhm.
but feel free to email me and we can definitely add that as a column for you if you need that for your organization. Do we need to submit anything financial for year 3 recipients for quarter 1?
Financial, yes. So you will be submitting a budget. So again, that budget expenditure form. I apologize as I was not able to find a blank template. And I didn't want to share data for any of our orgs.
Our license is registered under one person's name who is no longer employed. Can we change the name on the registration?
Yes, absolutely. Please reach out to the help desk. So it's helpdesk@amityfdn.org and provide the name of your organization, the name of your current license holder. Also, please CC your grant advocate. And in order to gain your new credentials or gain credentials for whoever you'd like the new license holder to be, you will need to complete the training. So sorry, to make it easiest, please just reach out to the help desk stating the same information. Make sure you CC your grant advocate. I will reply and provide you the training that needs to be completed and directions, and we can go from there.
What if the youth does not know the last four of their social?
So the social is not a required field. So we do put it there just in case we have students that happen to have the same name and date of birth, just so that we can identify that it's not the exact same student. But it is not a required field. If your students don't have it, don't wish to share it, that's okay.
Will this first budget for year 3 encompass all expenses from July or just September?
So for year 3, your budget expenditure would be from July until September.
Yeah.
So it's for the quarter.
Does Apricot send reminders via email, like approaching deadlines? That'd be cool.
Not currently. That is a
Cool.
good. I'm trying to think if Apricot has the capability of doing that. I can look into that and see if we can do something similar.
I believe in you, Rudy. You can make that happen.
I do want to piggyback on that. You will receive reminders from your grant advocate. You will receive reminders from our program director, from Joanne. You will receive reminders when quarterly reporting is up and coming or when it is open.
Thank you, Carol.
No problem.
What do we have to provide on September 1st? And what are the other deadline dates for quarterly reporting?
So September 1st.
I think
Is this for year 3?
Yeah.
So I
No.
think they might be confused. So September, I've mentioned September
I think it's
1st, but that
data.
is the first date that you need to begin entering data into Apricot. So again, it's not necessarily that you'll be entering data on September 1st, but anything that happens after that date, we should see in the system. You should start entering into the system, and that should be done on a weekly basis. So September 1st is really your start to capturing all information in Apricot for your students. October 5th, that's when you will have the quarterly milestones report, your milestone quarterly report, as well as your first monthly service data validation form, which identifies that you've entered all data for that given month, as well as the couple of questions in regard to programming, whether there's been changes to the services you're providing, location, things of that nature. Sorry, I think that's it. Yeah, it's those 2 forms that would be due October 5th. So, sorry, I saw something pop up. Quarterly report is due September. No, your first quarterly report for year 3 grantees is due October 5th. So it's 5 days after your quarter has ended. Since your quarter began in July, it doesn't end until the end of September.
Thank you, Rudy. Dominique Davis, you have your hand up. You can go off mute. What's going on? No. Blanca, your hand is up. You can go off mute. What's going on? Someone asked, could you explain the service data validation form?
Yes. So the service data validation form is, this form was covered within the trainings, the Apricot trainings that we've had. So this coincides with your monthly data entry for your students. I will open up the form. And so it basically asking the question of, did we provide services for the month? I will go ahead and use July of this year as the date that I'm entering information for.
Rudy, can you share your screen?
Oh, that would help. Sorry, folks. I thought I was sharing my screen. So let me go back into the view folder. So within the view folder for your organization, you have the monthly service data validation. Again, I will follow it over to the right and I will enter a new form. For the date, I will go ahead and put today's date. I will say that I'm validating data for July of 2024. So I have a couple different questions. Did I provide services this month? If yes, then I'm good to move on. If no, then I have a text box that populates and asks to provide an explanation as to why there were no services entered for the month. The next question is, were any changes made to staffing under this funding? Again, everything is in relation to this funding. So if there were, then I get the question of, if yes, what changes were made to staffing? So if you brought on new staff, if you had staff leave, again, all in relation to this funding, then you would go ahead and make the appropriate update. The next question, has your organization relocated or opened a new office with grant funding? If no, there's no additional information needed. If yes, then I will get the text box. Where is your new office located? Will this site be used to provide services under this grant? And finally, this final question is all in regards to if there were changes made. So if changes were made, has TPA leadership been notified of these changes? If I state no, then I will be asked, if no, when will they be notified and how? If yes, how were they notified? So did you speak to your grant advocate? Did you send an email? Did you speak to the TPA leadership directly? You would go ahead and provide the update within this section. The final, well, second to final piece, you will click this box. By checking this box, you are certifying that all of your service data has been entered for the month indicated. So by checking this box, I am indicating I've entered all service data for July of 2024. I am then able to type in my name and sign. And don't worry about it being pretty, as I know that is like impossible with a mouse. Once I have done that, I will be able to save the record. Right now, I'm not able to because I have a bunch of blanks, so I'm just going to put a bunch of no's. Oh. All right, so now I can go ahead and save the record. And I can click continue. Everything will have saved. And now we are able to view this information on our end. We're also able to see who witnessed. Basically under what user account was this information entered.
Blanca, do you still have a question? You can come off mute. Well, we are at 2:59. I do want to respect everyone's time. And if you do want to stay for like another 5 minutes, we do have a couple more questions, but if you do have to log off, that's completely fine. Again, if you did not put your name and your organization name in the chat, we would love to know again who's here. We also use it for attendance purposes for things like your quarterly milestone reporting. So thank you so much for joining us. I am being told that Rudy does have another meeting, but we will stay on for another like 2 to 5 minutes if you have any other questions. If not, have a fabulous day, and we will see you next week where there will actually be a change in topic. We will send that out on Friday, so please check your emails. Our third-party administration Amity Foundation bulletin was also sent out this week. We hope you have read it. If not, go ahead and read it. We'd love any feedback or information from all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. You have a great rest of your day.